There is a mysterious object, which is crossing our solar system, and scientists cannot agree on its true nature. 3I Atlas, officially classified as a comet, continues to amaze the scientific community with a series of anomalies that have created opposing factions among experts. Some insist it is an ordinary comet, others speak of inexplicable gravitational behaviors, still others whisper of characteristics that defy the laws of known physics. While we witness this debate with a question mark in our heads, a disturbing question emerges from the depths of prophecies. What if 3I Atlas were not just another comet? What if it were the celestial body that will trigger the fulfillment of terrifying prophecies? And above all, if the visions of mystics come true, which nation will disappear forever from our maps? If these topics are important to you, help us spread them. A like can do so much, as well as your subscription to the channel. Thank you from the heart. In the 12th century, a Benedictine nun named Hildegard of Bingen received a vision that would have made anyone who heard it tremble. This saint, doctor of the Church, described with precision the arrival of a great comet, which would devastate the world. She did not speak of a simple celestial spectacle, but of an apocalyptic event that would unleash earthquakes, giant tsunamis, floods, which would devastate entire coastal cities. And after all this, plagues and diseases would be unleashed on the surviving population. But the most disturbing detail of her prophecy concerned a great nation in the ocean, inhabited by peoples of many races, which will remain devastated, divided, and partly submerged. Many scholars see in that description the United States of America, a nation that in the 12th century did not even exist, but which Hildegard saw with prophetic clarity, being partially erased by the waters. What Saint Hildegard saw 8 centuries ago, today science confirms as possible. A large celestial body approaching Earth could indeed cause all this. Devastating earthquakes, apocalyptic tsunamis, global fires, total collapse of crops, even a dark night in the atmosphere, which would drastically lower the planet's temperatures. The gravitational effects of a massive celestial body could alter the Earth's axis, unleashing unimaginable geological forces. And while scientists debate the nature of 3I Atlas, today's mystics receive visions, which seem to connect this mysterious object to ancient prophecies. Father Michel Rodrigue has received from God the Father a systematic and precise vision of 3 celestial bodies that will strike Earth at different times, each with specific characteristics and consequences. 3 distinct events, which will forever change the geography and history of our planet. In particular, the first celestial body, according to the revelation received by the priest, will be enormous, and will approach our world without directly impacting it. It will be the space debris of which its tail is composed, falling on Earth, causing enormous destruction. But the most devastating effect will be gravitational. The fact that this celestial body will pass so close to Earth will alter the Earth's axis, causing catastrophic earthquakes around the Pacific Ring of Fire. Faced with such immense cosmic forces, we recognize our human fragility and entrust our life to the one who gave it to us. Let us write in the comments. Into your hands, Lord, Amen. Father Michel Rodrigue described being taken out of the world by God the Father, as if he had been lifted from Earth, and could see the entire planet from space. In every nation, there was a multitude of small lights. The Eternal Father explained to Father Michel. You see, Michel, each of those small lights represents a refuge. Father Michel's spokesperson, Xavier Errol, reports that there was at least one or more refuges in every country on Earth. Even in countries that we know will disappear, that is, will sink, and in their place there will be a collection of islands. Those islands will actually be refuges for survivors. California as we know it today will no longer exist. In its place, Father Michel saw a collection of small islands, as if much of the state had been swallowed by the Pacific Ocean. This apocalyptic vision finds surprising confirmation in the words of John Martinez, a contemporary seer, who lives right in the United States. Martinez had a detailed vision of the future of the United States. A vision that takes place after the event we know as the warning, or illumination of conscience. Here is how Martinez describes what he saw. As I walked and prayed, the ground began to shake, and everything around me was moving. I was shown the movement of tectonic plates around the world. I saw that many areas of Earth had been shaken by volcanic eruptions and earthquakes, and many countries seemed to disappear. The United States of America was no longer the same. Some areas of the west and east coast had become small islands. California, Oregon, Washington had become small regions. The Pacific coast was almost near Nevada. The East Coast had almost disappeared, and most of the states were no longer there. The Atlantic Ocean was now near the Appalachian Mountains. The tip of Florida had sunk into the ocean. Most of the southern coastal states had sunk into the Gulf of Mexico. This could be the emergency that the United States will be forced to face, also prophesied by Marie-Julie Jahenny, the Breton stigmatist who between 1878 and 1890 had extraordinary visions. Marie-Julie saw Europe devastated by wars, invasions, and revolutions. She described massive flows of non-Christian immigrants who would invade the continent. A new form of government in France led by a neo-Islamic left. Wars that would spread like shockwaves involving Russia, Belarus, Ukraine, Poland, and beyond. But the most disturbing detail of her prophecies concerned the United States. She saw that Europe would call for help from the American superpower, but that it would not respond. The question arises spontaneously. Why does the leader of the free world not intervene to help its historical allies? The answer is terrifying. Because at that moment, the United States will be too busy managing its own internal catastrophe. Scientists continue to debate the anomalous nature of Three-Eye Atlas, and believers in prophecies wonder if this mysterious object is not precisely the celestial body described by Saint Hildegard and seen in the visions of Father Michel. The gravitational anomalies of Three-Eye Atlas, its unpredictable behavior, the characteristics that defy traditional classification, everything seems to point towards something greater than a simple comet. What if Three-Eye Atlas were the first of the three prophesied celestial bodies? What if its tail of space debris were already on a collision course with Earth? The timing of the prophecies and the appearance of this cosmic object might not be a coincidence. To better understand the fate of the United States, we must look at the messages received by Sister Mildred Newsel in the 1950s. In her messages, Sister Mildred learned from the Virgin Mary that the United States, in particular, is receiving the tremendous, but privileged, opportunity to lead all nations to a spiritual rebirth, never before so necessary, so important, and so vital. However, this privilege came with a severe warning. The Virgin Mary was clear. Unless the United States accepts and faithfully carries out the mandate that heaven has given them to lead the world toward peace, there will come upon the nation and all peoples the great scourges of war, and incredible suffering. These words take on an even deeper meaning in light of the visions of Martinez and Father Michel. They make us reflect on the role that the United States has in the world, and on the consequences of their actions, or inactions. Even in the midst of these predictions of destruction and radical transformation, there is a thread of hope, which shines like a beacon in the darkness. Father Michel, in his cosmic vision, saw that even in lands destined to disappear, there will be refuges of light. These refuges, represented by those small lights that dot the globe, remind us that even in the darkest moments, faith and love can shine like beacons in the night. John Martinez saw new land masses emerge from the ocean, forming habitable areas, where before there was only water. In the midst of destruction, God prepares places of salvation for his faithful. Faced with these apocalyptic prophecies, the question arises spontaneously. What must we do? The Virgin Mary, through her messages to Sister Mildred, has given us a key to face these difficult times. What I ask, and will continue to ask, is a reform of life. There must be sanctification from within. Father Michel reminds us. First of all, before thinking of sacramentals, we must seek holiness and always remain in a state of grace. Consecration to the Sacred Hearts of Jesus and Mary is essential. We cannot control the movements of tectonic plates or the rising of oceans, but we can control our actions, our thoughts, our faith. The Virgin Mary added to Sister Mildred. If my warnings are taken seriously, and a sufficient number of my children constantly and faithfully strive to renew and reform themselves, then there will not be a nuclear war. These words give us hope. Prophecies are not immutable destiny, but loving warnings. God shows us what could happen, so that we can change course. Prayer, conversion, consecration to the Sacred Hearts, could still modify the course of events. We have understood that 3i Atlas could be much more than a simple comet. Its anomalies, its unpredictable behavior, its appearance in times of apocalyptic prophecies, might not be random. Saint Hildegard saw 8 centuries ago a great comet devastate a nation in the ocean. Father Michel and John Martinez saw California transformed into islands. Marie-Julie Geheny saw the United States not respond to Europe's calls for help. All the pieces of the puzzle seemed to fit toward a single, terrifying conclusion. A superpower is about to be humiliated by the forces of nature. But let us remember that God does not show us the future to frighten us, but to save us. The refuges are already prepared, mercy is still available, conversion can still change everything. Write in the comments if you have already consecrated yourself to the Sacred Hearts of Jesus and Mary, and on which day. Sharing your consecration experience will help other faithful to take this fundamental step for spiritual protection in the difficult times that await us. Pedro Regis II has spoken of 3i Atlas in relation to the prophecies of Our Lady of Anguera. If you want to know more, click the video that has appeared on your screen. May God always illuminate your path. See you in the next video.